Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another video. I am Rodimus 2099, and today I am talking about my favorite Batman comic book slash his comic book of all time. It is called Batman: The Long Halloween, and that is what I believe the Matt Reeves movie is going to take inspiration from. I don't believe it will be very close to it because The Long Halloween was long and it was arduous and it was great. Honestly, it's one of my favorite stories. Of course, I think personally it could have been improved, but that's just me. And the main reason why I'm talking about it is because I'm at the comic book store and a whole shipment of this, because they just made they took all the stories, all the individual ones, put them together, make one big book, as they usually do. So we got some of those. We got like 6 of those. We got a bunch of Batman Hush and a bunch of Watchmen. Um, Watchmen. So yeah, those were all the ones that came in today. Four big books that I had to unload, and honestly, I found my love again in The Long Halloween. Now, it involves a lot of my favorite villains from Batman. It uses the Riddler, it uses Catwoman, Scarecrow, Joker, Calendar Man, Mr. Freeze, kind of a little bit, not too much, but he's not kind of big in it. I believe Bane was kind of in it somewhat. Poison Ivy, Penguin, Two-Face. Honestly, it's just one of my favorites. Solomon Grundy. I'm not the biggest fan of Solomon Grundy. I do like him though. Um, and it's a good story. It's honestly one of my favorites because it does take a different inspiration somewhat from the look of it. It's just it's different artwork. Catwoman looks really different. Joker has this giant grin that you can see in like most of the photos. It's just like long. He does. I believe that the new Batman Adventure Continues is gonna somehow go along with the Long Halloween because there is the Joker figure who has the Santa hat on and the Christmas tree, and that was kind of a little funny moment. Um, and I mean, honestly, it was just amazing artwork. Mad Hatter, isn't it? I forgot about him. Um, I'm not the biggest fan of Mad Hatter though, so that's just me. Um, and it is just a very nice kind of detective story. It's back to the basics of what Batman should be, a detective. Um, it shouldn't be Batman being, a great, kind of unbeatable force. He shouldn't be that way. He should just be a normal kind of guy who is a detective. He should be a detective, and that's what I think he really shines in. Some of my favorite artwork in this book is definitely for the look of Poison Ivy. She has really long hair that's like it's just beautiful, amazing. They did a good job with her. I don't like the Catwoman too much, but again, I'm fine with the purple costume. I love Scarecrow in it. Um, Calendar Man looks creepy. Yep. Um, and yeah, it is one of my favorite stories. So I'm finally glad that somewhat of a movie is going to adapt it, but I don't think it's gonna work that well. I don't think Carmine Falcone was in it, since there is gonna be Carmine Falcone in the Matt Reeves one. You know. But what I like about it is it has such a large cast. I prefer a lot of villains in my stories because it makes it harder for the hero to win. And you can tell Batman's having struggles with this. I mean, the Riddler is gonna bring him down. Um, yeah, so I definitely really do like that. And it kind of reminds me, I feel like this kind of should be adapted. This kind of is, I feel like what adapted into definitely Arkham City, playing through that game again. A lot of vibes, a lot of the same characters. There's the Mad Hatter missions, there's the Penguin and Solomon Grundy relationship, which doesn't make all that much sense if you think about it. Um, and then there's Poison Ivy, Catwoman, um, yeah, just a bunch of characters kind of coming into it who aren't that big. But definitely I feel that this comic inspired such works. And honestly, I think that this is one of the top 5 Batman stories you should read if you want to be a Batman fan. If you want to read some Batman, here are my top 5. Long Halloween, Batman Returns. The Dark Knight Returns, Batman Year One, um, Hush, definitely Hush, and Under the Red Hood, because it kind of Under the Hood shows like the effects of Batman with his Robins, and kind of like whose fault is it if a Robin dies? Is it Batman's, or is it the guy who killed him, Joker? Um, Long Halloween has some of the best villains in it. Batman Returns kind of shows that vibe of like, can you quit something and return years later? And I always like that idea of a hardened Batman who's super old and to come back and still there's crime in Gotham. Batman Hush, I think, is just a very interesting story and very intricate. You do get a lot of characters like um, Catwoman, Superman, Batman kind of coming into it. And I do like Hush. I do prefer other versions of Hush. I prefer the one where it's not actually Jason Todd. That's just me, though. I know a lot of people like that one. Because it's just pretty good. It's a pretty good story. In Batman Year One, I love the design of it. It's kind of cooler. It isn't the traditional Batman origin. It's not by the or is it by the League of Shadows? I don't think so. I don't think so. And it's just a pretty nice story. It's not my favorite of all of them, but yeah, I do like that one. And of course, Dark Knight's Metal, Death Metal. Read all of those. Read every Batman comic book. It's not hard. I'm just joking. But yeah, those top 5, really, yeah, read them. No particular order. They're all great. I'm a sucker for Batman. Anyway. Oh, and one of my favorite pages of this, spoiler alert, is during a courtroom in session. One of my favorite scenes in the comic book is when someone walks up to Harvey Dent during the middle of the trial and sprays acid in his face, and it makes him Two-Face. It's a really nice origin for it because it is kind of like, oh my god, just happened. Wow. I do prefer the ones where it's Two-Face and he gets hurt inside of a bunch of people. That's why I did one of mine in a TV show. And I did want to mix Cluemaster and Two-Face somewhat. And I feel it's easier for a actor than a political man to lose its sanity over looks. And that's something that we're going to talk about in season 2, which is coming out soon. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. Just a little bit of a ranty rant on the Long Halloween. It just came up because it's come back to my store. So, love it. Anyway, goodbye, guys. I'll see you next time.